This is Factorio. Specifically, this is a fairly late game Factorio central factory with uh, all of the enemies turned off so that I can, finish the game more easily. It's Factorio on easy mode. That still means I've been playing it for several hours. Um, I hesitate to check my statistics. 51 hours last 2 weeks, which is mostly this game. I don't know how to explain Factorio, so I'm going to try within this in a slightly rambly video, which, you should be used to by now. Do you remember The Settlers? The Settlers was, and still is occasionally, a game of resource management, mostly. You put the buildings where they needed to be to pick up the things, and little things would take the little packages from one place on your distribution network to the place where they were needed. And one of the things to do was to optimize your distribution network to make everything quickly. Factorio is kind of the other side of that, in that the aim is to create a distribution network that works. To start with, the way that you do that is with you can see there are lots and lots of conveyor belts, which conveniently don't require power. And those carry things around, and then little things take stuff off the conveyor belts and put them into factories and make things. The aim is to build a rocket. Thus, in order to do that, you have to research how to build rockets. You are a one-man or one-person superhero who is able to create entire factories in their own body and then put them in the ground, which is handy. You can create entire nuclear power plants given the resources. But the aim, at least in the early game, is to create two kinds of things. The first is research, and the second ends up being weapons. In a game where I'm not cheating, I did not set it on easy mode to start, there will be aliens spawning on the planet that you have crash landed into. That's the plot for what it's. There is no plot, but the plot is that you have crash landed on a planet and you need to build a new thing to go home. But there are aliens, and the aliens are attracted by pollution, and the more you pollute, the more their attacks will come. And the more you disturb them, the more their attacks will come. And since there is no way to do this without some level of pollution, because you will need oil, then you end up having to defend your base against them, and building weapons and tower defenses and lasers and many other things to make sure that they are kept at bay. But the important thing is research, especially if you're playing on, as I say, easy mode, whereby you build these little research stations. Research stations consume bottles of research, which, as a one-man super army, you can create yourself, but it's far more effective to create factories to create your magical things, your magical research bottles, and then pass them into the... To start with, you only have a couple of colours of bottles. You have red ones and you have green ones. But by the time you get to the late stages of the game, there are 7 different colours of bottles, and just the logistics to get them into the research stations is a little complicated. As you can see, a multi-level thing there with special extending arms so they can put them into the... This might be better with an example, so I'll take you out of the zoom in thing. Here's my guy. They have no discernible features at all. They appear to be quite strong because they're currently carrying 500 blocks of steel, about 1,000 blocks of iron, 153 electrical mining drills, and are still able to walk around. I mean, they do have the power armor at this point, which is handy. Lead bottles are coming off the production line and being fed into this research tube. They're coming from these 3 factories. This factory takes copper plate and iron gear wheels and turns them into science packs. It then puts them onto the production line in front of it. It takes them from this box. Now, up until fairly recently, there was a complicated series of stuff up here, which would take stuff off this circular production line and put it into these boxes so that these things could get at it. Now I have many flying robots, which you can see. You can see more easily if I turn off their package drills. I basically have a drone delivery network now of about 3,000 robots flying around, delivering all the things to all the places. There's probably better ways of doing that, but in the late game I like the idea of having the drones. Where does it get these from? Well, this chest is a requester chest, and it's asking the logistic network for some copper plate and some iron gear wheels. Here is a factory that makes iron gear wheels. It puts them into this box there. It takes them from this box here. This box is asking for iron plate. Iron plate currently comes from 2 places, but mostly here, which is a series of furnaces that are turning iron ore into the iron plates. Also, iron plates are being delivered en masse by steam train every so often, as you've seen coming in through here. But this lot of ore is coming in from here, which is coming in on a conveyor belt. A very long conveyor belt, which I probably could have done as a train line instead, but you know. I marked that tree for destruction earlier, and so a robot came out and destroyed it for me. Thanks, robots. That's coming from a conveyor belt, where there is a series of electrical mines delivering things. Now this doesn't automate forever because the ore does run out, as you can see there. There is electric mining drill with not moving anymore because there's no oil underneath it. So I'll get rid of that one. That one only has a little bit left, and this has none. So these are now useless, and I can recover these. And these are now brought back the transport belt. And so the ore turns into, so the ore is mined from the thing. I've forgotten I'd left my tank here, so I'm going to drive my tank back. And the ore is taken to the place. There is a coal mining operation. Oops. And I successfully used the bottles to create faster shooting speeds. So now I will research better mining productivity. try not to crash into the buildings. One of the more complicated things to set up is the nuclear furnace. This is another, oops. Sorry, I crashed into an electricity pole. So one of the things you can mine out of the ground is uranium. I have a uranium mine down here somewhere. The uranium needs sulfuric acid in order to mine it. So I've got a small sulfuric acid plant over here, right, where we take oil from the ground and water, and that goes to create sulfur, and then we turn the sulfur into sulfuric acid, and then we feed the sulfuric acid to the mining drills, which mines the uranium. The uranium is then taken to the train. The trains, as you've seen, go hither and yon. Did I leave one of my robots behind? Yes. Thank you. You can tell I can't drive in real life, can't you? And that is taken to the station. There you go, like that. Which then, small army of drones arrives and takes that away. Those go to be stored. It is delivered to, this is another train from a different mine, which goes into centrifuges, which turn it into uranium 235 and uranium 238. Uranium 235 and 238 go into, are turned into uranium fuel cells. Uranium fuel cells go into the nuclear reactor. Nuclear reactor heats turbine, it heats heat exchangers. Heat exchangers creates heat water to create steam. Steam goes into the turbines. Turbines create electricity. Yay! And if you do that enough, you eventually have enough resource to create all the different kinds of bottles. These bottles, for example, take batteries, processing unit cards, which require mining, making plastic, speed modules, and copper cable. And you get everything, and you build a rocket. And the rocket contains a satellite. And then we launch the rocket. And that's my first game of Factorio 1, and now I shall probably play it with actually having the enemies on. But that's Factorio. It's quite fun. That took me 56 hours, but it is the first time I've got from beginning to end, and I wasn't particularly trying to be effective. As you can see, I killed 3,000 trees, mostly by driving through them with a tank, as well as some electric poles because I'm bad, and I killed one player, which was me, who stood in front of... No, in this case I did not die from standing in front of any trains. I died by, when I was getting rid of trees, using grenades, and I stood next to a grenade. It's a fun game. I recommend it if you like this kind of thing. If you don't like this kind of thing, you will find it tedious.